What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video. My goodness, Obi-Wan Kenobi. We know this is coming out. They use the same head, but we'll talk about that. But if you are interested in this figure, you can pre-order this at bigbadtoystore.com. I'll put the link down below as soon as it is available. Man, that base looks good. It looks fantastic. And then you get this what do you call this, Anakin sculpted. This is the sculpted hair, right? So it just matches. They haven't announced a artisan version for this Obi-Wan. Are they going to? That is the question, because they kind of artisan just the fringe of the hair, which is an odd choice, to be quite honest with you, because I rewatched just now before doing this video their entire battle scene, and it feels like that is not needed. Like, there is one frame where his hair was kind of curled up like that, and that is when they were, doing the fight, and there was a pretty quick frame. I don't know why there's a curl in his hair. Like I said, it was one frame. For the most part, his hair is straight and kind of messy, at least the front. If you want to do that, I think you can get away with something like the Kenobi, Obi-Wan from the Kenobi show. But nonetheless, I think it was executed great. The hair color sort of matches, but you can see here this is after the fight was kind of messy. The likeness is there. I was never a fan of the beard that he does have. It feels too curated. It feels too nice. And I don't know how they're gonna do this where it doesn't feel like Tom Selleck stash, because it is, but it's more of a long than full, if that makes sense. If you see his pictures, it's different. Like it's not as this feels like it's combed and all that stuff. It maybe if you put a little bit of messiness into the beard, like different strands sticking out here and there to create that fullness instead of just one big sculpt, maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll help the likeness. I don't know, because I think the likeness is there. I just can't pinpoint maybe the nose, what's throwing it off for me. Now, I'm not saying it's a terrible likeness, but it is basically the same sculpt. It feels like the one that we've seen, just different hairstyles, from the Clone Wars to a certain degree, the Kenobi show. Maybe they made the eyes different, I think, but obviously the hair is not the problem. I think something within the sculpt, the cheekbones, the nose, I feel like something, about the eyes, maybe squinted a little bit more, or the beard. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the hair kind of curling, waving to the side. It feels like that's, for the majority of that scene, it is not even that messy, honestly. But hey, I think it's executed properly though. And it being wool hair, maybe you can put some hair products to kind of, to depend on your liking. If you want to straighten it out or kind of separate it, make it more of a battle damage look, kind of messy hair. I think that is the purpose of why they did what they did. But the transition between the plastic and the wool hair, in my opinion, is pretty good. It's pretty seamless. Like I said, the color is almost good. The weathering on his clothing is great. Like it's hard to see because the actual scene is treated like it's just, there's a lot of reds into it because of, obviously the fire. So it's hard to see exactly where those battle damage, if there's like a rip on and it's so fast, it moves so fast. But I'm happy with how it looks like, like it looks great. I think the dirt goes all the way to his boots as well. It's not super clean. Like I said, the base looks fantastic. It's gonna occupy a lot of space in your collection, but in your display case. But it's one of those things where I think it is welcome. I think I'm all for it. I'm all for diorama pieces. So if it's gonna improve the experience, so be it. So this looks good. Like I said, it is a pretty strong likeness. But even on the first Obi-Wan, when he had a baby, not his baby, but you know what I mean. Like, I've always had a thing about his stash. Like, it feels like a Hulk Hogan handlebar for some reason. Like, and I know he has a pretty strong stash game, as you can see here. But it feels more, not as full as Hot Toys makes it out to be. I don't know, man. It looks good. I'm not saying it doesn't, but let's see. Look at this like this. It's just not like Anakin is good. Like, maybe, and even without the artisan hair, I think it's stronger than this. And it's not like this is their first try with Obi-Wan. They've especially recently, they have attempted a lot of Obi-Wan. The problem is, I think they're reusing the same sculpt over and over, tweaking a little bit here and there, and then obviously changing the hairstyle. But this is a must-have, though. Like, are they gonna make another one? For sure. Like, how many Anakins have they made? They're not gonna stop till they milk Obi-Wan, because people are buying Obi-Wan. It feels like almost a package when you buy Anakin. Like, you want Obi-Wan, obviously, with this base as well, because you gotta recreate that scene, and they're like synonymous. They're like Batman and Robin of some sort, like display wise as well. Look at this. When you display them like this, my goodness, that looks fantastic, especially with the clothing that they have. You can leave them in dynamic pose, unlike Spider-Man's, where you don't have to worry. So if you have a dedicated Star Wars display, oh my goodness, this would look amazing. Now, would an artisan hair, if they ever make one, help this a lot more to be more realistic? I'm not sure, because his hair is short enough, that I don't know if that's necessary. I'm sure you're gonna remove the shine from the back of his hair, but would you be willing to pay an extra $200 for that? Would collectors be? I'm not sure about that. Like I said, if it's gonna improve the likeness, then why not? It might not be for me, but for some, it might be for them. But this is a definite must-have for me. Definite. I already pre-ordered Anakin, so Obi-Wan is coming home. Especially this good. I just want it to be, I don't know, I just want it to be much better. But let me know in the comments, what do you think, how this turned out? Are you happy with the head sculpt? And for the price, I think it's pretty good. But let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.